David and I have been doing these replacement masks for the COVID-19 pandemic situation in our town. And David had this idea yesterday, since I've got so much fabric and I have plenty of elastic, and a lot of people have been posting that they don't have enough and begging for it. And Joanne Fabrics has been giving away fabric and elastic in packages for making their masks. So and they've pretty much run out. They stopped doing it yesterday, I heard. So we made a video. David helped me yesterday make a video, and so we are explaining that these are the masks that the directions are going to be, and each package will be a set of directions and supplies for making 12 masks. I've kind of figured out that I do a white package or black package. So the white package has white elastic, and I suggest you use white thread. That's the only thing that's not in the package. But everything else is in here that you need, plus a little label that explains that David's company and my company are donating these to local medical establishments and high-risk individuals to use. And there's a place on the back where you can write a little message and put a little personalization. I'm just signing my name, but if you want to write a little something on there, and you are welcome to bring these back to us, and we will distribute them to the veterinary clinics and the people
police stations
and people that
friends with neighbors that are high risk, or family members who are high risk, to protect them from getting the germ and hail.
Cool. So that's basically, need to message me and let me know if you would like to pick this up if you're in our local area.
And just wanted to mention quickly, these are construction version N95 masks. What we're creating are not official N95 masks, so we're not saying that they are, but these are very similar to a lot of masks you see people wearing. So these are in very short supply, but we're trying to help create a supply for these types of masks for people to wear. So have a great day. Be safe. Bye for now.
Hi, we're going to go through and show you how I do a face mask like this one. I started off with instructions from the Turban Project, but I've added several little changes to those instructions. So you start with 2 pieces of 100% cotton fabric, 9 inches by 6 inches. And the first one is the front of it is an interesting print, and the back is a 100% cotton flannel for inside, so that it feels nice on your face. I already pinned this side, and we're going to show you how to pin this side. On this side, I have the pleats going down, so on this side I want them to go in this direction. So you can measure this if you like. But after doing a few of them, you kind of figure out what the measurements are, and you don't really have to use your ruler anymore. But you've got about 1 inch, and you want to fold over about 1/2 inch to make the first pleat. And stick a pin on it. Going into the fabric, I'm going to be sewing this way, so I want the pin to go perpendicular to the direction I'm sewing. You do not want the pin to go in this direction, in the direction that you're sewing. You'll see why in a little bit. So the next pleat, I'm going to fold over about a 1/2 inch of fabric, and I'm just going to eyeball that, stick a pin on it, and the last one here will be about a 1/2 inch, and that will take me to about a 1/2 inch from the end. And then I'm going to take my elastic. I'm using 1/8 inch elastic for here, and you put that on a 45-degree angle from the corner. I'm going to stick a pin here, and be very careful to keep it flat when you turn it around to put it onto the other corner. Give me that pin. So that's one side. I already did this side. Now I'm going to go to my lining fleece 100% cotton fabric. I've already pinned this side, so the pleats are going in this direction. So I'm going to do them in the same direction on the other side. Then this is about 1 inch, this is about a 1/2 inch fold. And put in the pin perpendicular to the edge. And the last fold is going to leave approximately, this is being difficult, approximately 1/2 inch to the other side of the fabric. There's my 3 pleats. Now the pleats are facing down. So when I put this on top of my other piece of fabric, I want to make sure that the pleats are both going down. So I've got that both going down, so I'm going to match up this one corner and pin through my 2 pieces of fabric and my elastic. I can see the elastic right there, and if you want to check underneath, make sure you've got it well, you can do that. I'm going to match up my corners, and the pin is being difficult underneath there. Hold it steady, pin through all 3 items, the 2 pieces of fabric and the elastic, and that's pinned good. Go around here and get to these 2 corners. Now this is all the pinning I'm going to do. You might want to do more pinning if you want to along the top and the bottom edge. But after you do a few of these, you'll see that you no longer need to do that. And I'm not going to bother right now. Feel and make sure that I've got, I didn't get that real well. It went a little cockeyed under there. There we go, I got it. Okay, so now I want to again check the direction of my pleats. My pleats are going this way. So this is the top side of the mask, and this is the bottom side. So I want to start on the bottom side with my fashion fabric up. Check my pleats going in this direction. So I'm going to start about 2.5 to 3 inches from the edge. I'm going to sew a seam approximately 3/8 of an inch. My machine is metric, so this is a centimeter. So I'm going to put it right to the edge, just a hair past the edge of my foot. And I'm going to do a little back and forward to get it started. And then I'm going to sew down and get right onto my elastic. That's the edge of the elastic up. There we go. Come on, down. All right, now I am going, the needle is down through all 3 layers, the 2 layers of fabric and the elastic. I'm going to pick up the foot and turn towards the end of the elastic in the corner. I'm going to sew a couple stitches down the elastic to secure it real well. Then I'm going to back up that same 3 stitches and go ahead and needle down into the elastic, lift up my foot, turn my fabric all the way around so that now the side of the mask is along my direction of sewing. I'm going to sew down the side. Okay, we're going to interject a little explanation about elastic. In the care packages we are making, we will put in this 1/8 inch elastic because that's what I have the most of. And it will make a mask like this, the 1/8 inch elastic. I'll show you how to make this whole mask in the meat of the video. But for right now, if you're not using one of our care packages and you want to use whatever elastic you have, is just fine. But if you're using this corded elastic, it comes in several different colors, braided cord elastic. If you're going to use this type of elastic, you need to make a little knot that will go on the inside of your seam. I'm not using that kind, so we'll move on. If you want to use the 3/8 inch elastic, which makes a nice mask, but I think the 1/8 inch is I like that better, and that's what I have the most of. But the 3/8 elastic, you'll use it just like you do the 1/4 inch. And here's some examples of 1/4 inch elastic. I prefer the knit elastic for this purpose because it's softer on the ears. But if all you have is your braided elastic or your woven elastic, it's fine, you can use that. So the important part is to show you that I'm going to sew right up to where this elastic is, and I can see it here through the fabric. So here's where the edge is. So I want to stop right there on the edge. I'm going to go right up to it and stop. Yeah, come on, machine, cooperate. There we go. I'm right on the edge. I'm going to turn it so I'm sewing right along the elastic. The elastic is sitting like this underneath, so I'm going to sew directly across the elastic. About 3 stitches should do it. 3. Then I'm going to go back 3 stitches, then forward 3 stitches, and I want to land on the outside of the elastic. And I'm pretty sure that's landed there. I'm going to turn and sew down my edge. And then this is the side of the mask. I'll show you one more time. Over here, I want to stop on the outside of the elastic, turn. I'm going to sew 3 stitches across the elastic, 3 stitches back, and 3 stitches back across the elastic. I think that went 4 stitches. That's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. And then along the top side of the elastic. Now we're going to switch back to the other video where I can show you the 1/8 of an inch elastic and how to sew the whole mask. And I'm going to do the same thing on this corner. I'm going to go very carefully till the needle is right down on top of the elastic. I don't know if you can really see that, but I can tell it's on there. It's right next to the pin. Now I'm going to sew a couple stitches down the elastic and a couple stitches back up to where I started. Needle down, turn it all the way around, and you can take this pin out if you like to. You don't really have to. Okay, now I'm going to sew down this is now the top edge of the mask. I'm going to just sew a seam down. Make sure I'm lined up on my edges. This doesn't have to be the straightest, prettiest seam in the world. Just needs to be secure. Again, if you wanted to pin it, you could. Okay, I'm going to go right up to where my elastic is, get the needle into the elastic, turn to the corner, sew a couple stitches down the elastic, right on really close to the edge of the pin. Again, you could take this pin out if you wanted, but it's holding the elastic down. I just leave it there. Lift up your foot, turn, sew down the side seam, now I'm on my fourth piece of elastic, needle down, couple stitches down the elastic, couple stitches back up, needle down, turn. Now this is, I'm back to the bottom, and I'm going to do the same thing I did over here, only stop about 2.5 to 3 inches down the side. Now this is going to give me a fairly large access hole. I went back and forth a little bit. Now that you can see it better on this side, on the red side. See, that gives me a fairly large access hole, but I want it that large so that I can get my hand into there. So take all your pins out on that side. Now you can take these pins out while you're sewing, but I just don't bother. All right, now we're going to turn it right side out, and this makes it fairly easy with the large access hole. And each of my corners is nice and neat. That one's kind of not so neat. Why is it not folding good? There we go. All right, that one's good. See, your edges are going to be on an angle. I like that. I think that makes for a good fit on the face. All right, so that's where we are so far. Now we are going to put a piece of elastic in the top for the nose snug. On this one, I'm going to use a pipe cleaner that I've cut in half. These are pipe cleaners, come in 10 to 12 inches. You cut it in half, you got 5 to 6 inches. That's good enough. You can also use trash bag twist ties. If you're going to do that, I think it works best if you pull off 2 of them, fold it over, and use that. But on this one, I'm going to use the pipe cleaner. So I'm going to take the pipe cleaner. This is why you need a large access hole, so you can fit your hand in here and get this position. Now you're going to put that little bend in the pipe cleaner right in the center of the top of the mask. And if you wanted to mark the center, you could. I'm pretty close to the center. It doesn't have to be exact. And get it right up there in the edge. I can feel it. Now I'm going to twist my back fabric just a little bit to the back. About maybe a 1/16 of an inch. Now I can feel the pipe cleaner right here. I'm going to move it on down and snug it up so that it's right there, and my lining fabric is just a little bit toward the back. And I'm going to stick a pin here. Now this is that much. There's the edge of my pipe cleaner, and you don't really need wire there. Your nose is going to be right over here, and you want it to fit along the side of the nose and a little bit over on the cheek so it snugs to the face. So that's a good proportion right there. Now I'm going to go down here, and if you have to, you can stick your fingers under here and snug it on over. to if the seam is being a little difficult. You can do that because you have a really nice large access. And here I'm going to snug it on over and stick a pin there to hold it in place. Now we're going to start sewing on the top edge on the left hand corner. I'm going to sew to keep the wire in place first. So I'm going to start 1/4 of an inch from the edge. I'm going to flush my fabric right to the edge of my foot. And I'm going to start sewing here. Come on. Come on, foot pedal. There we go. All right, so I can feel the pipe cleaner here. And if you get a little wobbly seam, that's okay. But this is the top stitching. You want it to be kind of as pretty as possible. But with that pipe cleaner over there, you will find that it's going to push your foot over a little bit while you're trying to sew. There we go. So I've gone all the way across the top. I'm going to go all the way here until right before my edge. About 1/8 of an inch. Really close to the edge. Over here, I'm going to make sure my lining is all lined up and my seam is in a good position here because I'm going to sew right down this edge. Now you can pin these pleats if you want to, but I'm just going to hold them. I'm going to sew all the way down to this edge of the bottom. Now remember, this is where your access is. So I'm going to turn and I'm going to position this seam again so that it's right on the edge of where I'm sewing. And there's a little bit of a fabric is a little caught under there. There we go. Now it's smooth. So we sew down the edge really close. Now from here, the open edge, you're going to just pretend like there's a seam there. You could pin this if you want to, but I find that just holding it and sewing it is good enough. Get it lined up really nice, and then sew. And this closes your opening just fine. Here's where I started stitching over here. Keep holding it. Again, you could stop and pin this if you wanted to. And it's going to make a little kink there. It might make a little kink here and there. That will smooth out once you go around the second time, and I'll show you. Okay, we're going to get over here, right to the edge of the side seam. Oh, down, needle. Okay, then you turn. Now this side's a little tricky because your pleats are going in this direction and they're going to want to fight where you're stitching. So you can pin it or you can just hold it down and go slow. Now see how it's buckling a little bit? Now, all you have to do is get one stitch down on that pleat to hold it still and then keep going. Yeah, that one buckled a little bit too. One stitch. There we go. Go all the way again to the edge of the top. Now this is where we started. We did the 1/4 inch, so we're going to do right along the edge. Now you want to take these pins out and you're going to push the pipe cleaner away from the edge, because now you're sewing right on the edge. See, I can feel it right here. I can feel that pipe cleaner. So I'm going to sew right along the edge, and I'm pushing the pipe cleaner away from the edge, because I don't want to sew on it. Just push it in a little bit. Push it in. Can you see where it is? I can feel it. You might not be able to see it, but I can feel it. And that's going to hold the pipe cleaner in place pretty well. All right, I'm going to stop here 1/4 of an inch from the edge. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge like I did before. I'm going to turn, because now I'm going to do this 1/4 of an inch stitching around the other 3 sides. When I go across the side, I'm going to fan this a little bit and let it bend. Let the pleats open up just a little bit so that it will then fit on the face really nicely. All right, go down here, 1/4 of an inch to the edge, and that should actually land you right past that bottom pleat. And we're going to go across the bottom. And now that that hole is nicely sewn up, now here's where it buckled a teeny bit. No big deal. Just keep sewing. All right. Now this side, here's where the pleats are going in the other direction. It's going to be a little more difficult. Okay, stop. Come on, machine, down. My machine doesn't like to stop with the needle down. I'm going to go ahead and trim my threads over here before I start up the edge. All right. Again, you can stop and pin these pleats down, but I just hold them down. There we go. Okay, did you see that buckled a little bit when it went under the foot? Take the foot up, let it go. Okay, now you want to stop again right on this first row of stitching that you started with and turn. And then we're going to stitch right directly on top of my first row of stitching for about 1 inch, just to secure everything. Now here's where it buckled a little bit. Just move it with your fingertip and it's just fine. And here we go. We've got a finished mask. And here's where the nose piece goes. Now let's see what we got here. I think this will fit just fine. Snugs up on the nose, along the cheek line, and it's comfortable. Hi.